Hey, this is Steven from the Green Engineers, and welcome to my update video. Today is 4/22/19, otherwise April 22nd, 2019. So quite a bit of stuff going to happen here in the next little while here for the Green Engineers. So I'm obviously still hard at work on the fill factory for the senior project. That's kind of slowed down a little bit. We're getting ready to put it together. Also, the software is going to be the same software that runs Multi-Shooter, so that has to come together here pretty soon. So that's looking pretty good. Basically, that stuff is looking pretty good. But we do have another big issue. Obviously, in May 16th, I have my final of college. So I will be graduating San Jose State May 16th. So that is, at least, everything will be in, and assuming, obviously, I pass all my classes, I will be graduating May 16th, which is 8 days plus 16 days. That's 24 days from now. I'll be graduating from college. So after that, we're going to talk. That's basically what we're going to talk about. What is planned for after that? So right now we have a big problem where the shop.build. I know I haven't got the video out of that shop, but it looks like that's not going to be necessary because of the shop's going under again. So they just weren't making enough money. They have got two eviction notices at the shop.build in San Jose. And so they will probably be going under within the next few weeks. Within the next, so that would be, 24 days, so that's like less than 3 weeks until I'm done with college. Wow, that's amazing. Anyways, so yeah, they are probably going under within those 3 weeks. So we have some other developments for space because, again, after I graduate, I do plan on continuing working on the Green Engineers. So the idea is that when I complete college, I'm hoping that I could continue working part-time at Applied Materials and then be working on the Green Engineer stuff. And once the Green Engineer stuff is making me more than being a part-time engineer at Applied Materials, then I will quit Applied Materials and work on my business full-time. So there are a few options for space. Obviously, I need space to do that. My dad talked to me about possibly if I clean up the garage, I could run it out of the garage until that point and then move on to a new space. That's an option, so that's option number one. But again, my brother has a baby, 1-year-old girl, and she comes over here weekends, so it kind of not really the greatest thing when she comes over and I can't run the machines on a weekend. While during the day, I'll be working 10 to 3 at Applied Materials. And so, I basically have that time to come home and work on it, but on weekends I can't work on it because I can't run a CNC machine inside of the garage, which I will talk a little bit about at the end of the video what my plan is. Later on in the video, at least. So, second option for space is I could move in with my old boss. He got rid of, at the CNC shop, he got rid of one of his older machines, and now he has a big spot missing right there, and that's basically the size or space that I need to run my machines. So that's another option, that small space that he has there. So that's an option there as well. Another option is one of the guys that was doing work for the shop.build before it went under. He actually pulled all this stuff out. He's actually working on a space as well. He's working on a new space. I was actually working on starting a co-working manufacturing space, but this guy is way more qualified at it than I am. He's a commercial contractor. I mean, not a commercial contractor. He's a commercial real estate agent, so he knows all that kind of stuff in order to get the right location and get it for the cheapest price, and signing leases, and what's okay, what's not okay. So I'll kind of leave that to him. So that's option number 3. That's going to be in downtown San Jose. It's coming together rather quickly, and so that will probably be before I graduate, that will probably be available. So number 1 is in the garage. Number 2 is at the shop at my ex-boss, at the ex-boss's CNC shop. Number 3 is at this makerspace. And number 4 is that there's this other. Well, number 4 is that I rent a house closer to work, and work out of a garage there, out of the house. So I'm living and sleep. So when I come home, I could jump on the machine, start it up, and then later that night go to sleep. Wake up in the morning, start up the machine when I'm eating breakfast or whatever, and then go to work, come back, or start up a machine before I go to work, come back, pop it off the machine, and keep running it. So that way I get a very good use of time. So that's option number 4. And then option number 5 is this space here that I found. It's called, there's this chat thing. Let me go ahead and let me close this chat. Okay. So this is called the Custom Space, and they have a place in San Jose. And basically what it is it's a giant warehouse that you could go in and basically lease a space. And you see here they have locations throughout the United States. So you could basically lease a space, and so a giant warehouse, and it's subdivided with walls into these different spaces. And basically you can lease a space and operate your business of light manufacturing in that space 24/7. And so they give you like a card key, and you go into the space, and you could operate out of the space. And then if you expand your business, and let's say you bring on an extra person, or an extra 2 people or whatever, and you need more space because you want to put more machines, you could get a bigger subdivide. So you could basically keep going. As you see here, it goes from 200 to 20,000 square feet. So the 200, I was quoted about $318, and that's all included. So that's electricity, that's everything. And all by myself, if I leave, the shop doesn't go under. If somebody else leaves, this place doesn't go under. So I don't have to worry about the same thing happening like at the current shop I'm in. But obviously, I lose a lot of the deal with having a space where we are kind of with a whole bunch of makers. Because again, a lot of people that are in this space, from what I've seen, I'm actually taking a tour of this tomorrow, is that they're mainly like distribution companies that are doing a distribution business. So all they're doing is they're storing, and there's a truck bay that you could bring in like a U-Haul or whatever, and throw all your stuff in the back of the U-Haul. And so a lot of people, for example, this guy right here, he runs this thing called, I think it's right here, Hive Box, which is basically like those box subscriptions where they buy a whole bunch of stuff in bulk from a company, and then they put it in a box and ship it to your house, a random box. So that's kind of the deal. So all they have in there is just a whole bunch of different products that come in, and they put it into the random box, they package it up, and then they put it in another truck and they ship it out. So this is a great space for them. I mean, obviously they just have this hub where they put together these boxes, and when they put it together, they have a space where a big truck could go up there, and they have bought their own truck, put it inside the back of the truck, and ship it out. So basically, as the business expands and they need more product, then they get a bigger size space and custom space. So for me, I would be doing light industrial, light manufacturing. So put a CNC machine in there and run that. So I think this is option number 5. This is the cheapest option. Obviously being in the garage is the cheapest option. And I think that, and probably with my ex-boss, will probably be the second cheapest option. And then it's this option. And then maybe Ben's warehouse, it might be cheaper at 60 cents a square foot. As if you do the math, 200 square foot, $318 a month. This is about $1.60 a square foot. So it might even be cheaper at Ben's. But again, there's that liability of having that shop go under too, and then now I have to get all my machines out and put it somewhere. So this might be a shop. This might be a place for low liability. I could go month to month. So basically, you have to sign on at least for the first 3 months, and you're on a contract for the first 3 months, and then you can go month to month. So and then if you increase that lease size, that lease time, then you could drop your cost down, and as you go bigger, generally the cost per square foot drops as well. So that's kind of the idea. So this place is going to be kind of interesting. Me and Robert are going to go check. Robert's the guy that I originally was looking for to go into a place with. We're going to look at something, this place in San Jose tomorrow, so about 12 o'clock. So we'll see how that goes. So what is my plan, my quote-unquote business plan? So as you guys know, I was building my water jet to basically cut out these shredder guys. So I have 3 projects, right? I have, 4, counting the multi-shooter. I have the multi-shooter, the shredder project, filament maker, and 3D printer. So I'll probably eventually do multi-shooter open source, and then I'll just do periodic updates on it, and then kind of just start mainly develop the fill factory and make the fill factory better after multiple continuous updates. So my main moneymaker starting out is probably going to be this guy, because again, basically all those options, I'm buying my own machinery. So every single one of those options, I'm going to have my own machinery, because I plan on running those machines continuously. So there's not like there's very little hand tools involved. It's mainly CNC machines, so that while that's running, I could do something else. And basically, while this machine's running, I could set up this machine, and that machine's runs, and I set the third machine, and when I start the third machine, I go back and take the first part off the first machine, load another part in, etc. So it's basically a production, right? It's not like, I make 2 or 3 parts on this machine and then I do a whole bunch of hand assembly. The idea for all these products is that very little hand assembly required. And so I came up with a really good idea on how to lower that assembly and the cost for this guy. So as you guys know, I struggled to get this cost down to where it's useful for the reclaimer, which is my 6-inch by 6-inch by 3.5-inch tall shredder. So another idea that I had, which I'm probably going to use now because it also drops down my assembly time and cost, as it's just going to be myself, and also drop machine cost. It'll probably not drop. It'll drop it a little. It'll increase quite a bit, but it's way more. I could do way different types of products on it than the water jet. But basically, my idea now is to buy a CNC mill, and use the 4th axis to cut this assembly all in one piece. So basically, what it would look like is without this frame here. Let me see. Let me bring out. Do I have? Oh, I don't. Anyways, is basically to load this into the 4th axis. So I buy a big cylinder of 1045 steel. So when I buy, which is basically this big, and when I buy that piece of 1045 or 1055 or whatever steel, I put it inside the 4th axis, and I go in with an end mill and basically cut all of this geometry out in one piece. And so that way there's no square here, so this assembly is extremely stronger, is like a whole bunch stronger. And also it's already in one piece, so I don't have to go in later and assemble this. And a big thing with a water jet is the tolerances of that center square, is that I would have to go in sometimes, even on a very expensive $150,000 water jet with a tilt head and Omax, it still didn't have good tolerances, where on like 5 or 6 of these shredder dials, I had to go in and file them out in order to get them to fit on my ground square bar. So with this, it's all machined in one piece. So this whole shaft is machined, and then I don't have to worry about machining these pieces because it will go right through the bearing. So the bearing will come out, the bearing will be here, and this guy will just come right in. This shaft is way thicker, and I'm not going to have to worry about these little narrow weak spots here. So this shaft will be thicker. You could shred more thicker stuff. It's more robust, and once I take it off the machine, the mill, it will basically be ready to put in. But obviously, you lose something there, you can no longer take the machine apart and clean the blades. Because once I weld this thing shut, you can no longer get it out. So I might actually bolt it shut now. And so that way you could disassemble it and clean the blades out if you need to do that, if you need to do so. So that's kind of the idea. And then obviously these will be made on the mill. Everything here will be made on the mill. And these guys also, actually now these guys might be a problem. These will be done easy. Oh, but these I could figure out a way of stacking them, stacking a whole bunch of these quarter inch pieces on top of each other, and then just do a big profile out of it. So that's an option, is to drill a hole or something and then stack them and then put a bolt through all of them. Or these aren't even that big of a deal, so these could even be, plasmid or something. So I need to figure out how I'm going to do these, because that's another thing. But these are all the same shape, while the blades, if you guys remember, are all indexed 15 degrees. So, and then also I'll cut these guys, these teeth here, the gears on the mill as well. So this is the mill I'm planning on getting. It's from a company called Skyfire CNC. They're based in China. They are basically a little bit of a higher grade Tormach. So Tormach is now kind of moving with their MX series and their M series. They're kind of moving towards what Skyfire is. So if you guys don't know Tormach, Tormach's a really nice machine. I've used them for many, many years now at the shop. But basically they're a glorified manual mill conversion, because they still use dovetail ways. So they move along these dovetail ways, and that kind of doesn't really have as good it has a lot of rigidity, but it doesn't have a lot of precision. While these guys use very, very big linear rails, which are what the really big professional CNC machines use. So what I'm thinking of doing is, actually I just got a letter in that's kind of unique, is a way of financing through PayPal, getting a PayPal business loan, and then being able to buy one of these machines. Right now I'm thinking of getting just the small guy, which is they have the 0H and the 0S. The 0H is just a regular spindle, which will have a lot of run out, so I'm probably just going to get the regular R8 spindle that they have, and it uses a brushless 1 horsepower, basically a servo motor. So this will be able to do rigid tapping and all that kind of jazz. So here's the carriages that they use. And so this guy, basically I'll buy the 4th axis system with a harmonic drive that has pretty close to 0 backlash, and that is here. It's a 4-inch. So luckily mine are 3.5 inch. So if I did a bigger version, the biggest I could go is 4-inch, obviously on the 4th axis. And then here's 3 jaw, and then get the manual pulse generator, and electric tool setter would be nice. And then maybe do Linux CNC instead of these run Mach 3 stock. So that's kind of the idea. This guy is just big enough to put the 5th axis on there, and then when the 5th axis is done, I'll load the parts down here at the bottom, and then go down and cut the rest of the parts out. Cut the gears, cut a big stack of those teeth blades in there. Put like a 3-inch or something end mill in there, and go around and cut it out. Okay, so this is kind of the idea. Or what I'll do is I'll get the financing and then get the big boy, not this guy, because I don't want an industrial controller. I worked at that at the machine shop. I'm not a big fan. I'm into PC controllers. So this is a PC controller. running Linux CNC, and this is their 2VMC, which is basically the biggest one that they offer. It runs Linux CNC, and it has all ball screws. It has AC servos on all axes. I'm not too crazy about needing AC servos. I go with stepper motors. That's fine with me. It's got a touch screen with keyboard here. This keyboard drops down. You see there, keyboard drops down, and then there's the chip tray at the bottom. So that's fine with me. This would work amazing. And then you get the 4th axis on there, and it has the ATC 12 tool ATC. The other one does not have an ATC. So I might buy that first one, and then eventually go up to this guy. And it comes, most of that stuff comes standard. So there's a reseller here called Triple Tree, which is a reseller inside the United States for these machines, Skyfire machines. And these machines, they come with the ATC, which you can see right there. There's the ATC. Automatic tool changer, 12-piece or 8-piece. Then it has a finish light, and then there's the big spin, the heavy-duty brushless spindle up there at the top. I think this one's the even bigger spindle. Yeah, this is the big guy. It's got a big old motor up there. And then this is the drop bar, I'm going to assume. Okay, so that is basically what I'm looking at doing. So that covers the shredder stuff. So that I'll use that something like that to create the shredder. Not sure what I'm going to use to create these half moons that I call it, but I'll probably just do that on the mill as well. All right, so on the Fill Factory. So you'll see more about that when we conclude the thing for senior project. But basically, it uses 3D printers, which I would want to build it's called a White Knight, which is basically a belt-driven infinite Z. So you could just print on forever. So I'll probably run something like that to print out these dimensional control modules. Print out the hopper, print out the housing, print out brackets and stuff, and spool and drive cones, and the winder module. And then on the mill, I'll use that guy with the 4th axis to do my screw. So here is basically the design of my screw here. I've been looking at the 4th axis here, so this is kind of what the screw looks like. So here's where I put my pulley, and then you can see it has a 3-to-1 compression ratio, and this is big enough to fit pellets or recycled stuff in here, and it compresses as it goes here and builds up a lot of friction along the sidewall, and then extrudes it out. So with the mill and the and so basically what I'm going to need in the shop is a horizontal bandsaw, CNC mill that could handle a 4th axis. Okay, so bandsaw, mill, lathe. I need either a manual or a CNC lathe, and I need a Infinite Z 3D printer. And obviously, I need something to make filament really cheap, so I'll basically use my Fill Factory design. And finally, the last thing would be my where is it? EcoBase 3D printer. There it is. So, and the last thing would be EcoBase 3D printer. Obviously, need a laser of some type. So, hopefully I'll just go for the small laser, and then probably some sort of panel saw. So buy a cheap panel saw from Harbor Freight or something, and then be able to cut them out. Or I could cut them out right now at school at the university, and then I'm good to go there. So those are the 3 projects. And then, so coming up here is Maker Faire. I have not yet been confirmed. Actually, they're struggling to find a place for mine, so I may or may not go. I'm actually free to go because at the 16th I'm done with all my classes, and then the event is on like the 18th and 19th. So that would be a nice, but obviously I can't do a lot of pre-preparation because I'll basically be studying to make sure that I do indeed pass all my classes. So it'll kind of be a last minute thing. I'll show the Fill Factory stuff that I finished, which I think would be pretty cool. And also I did a little bit of work on the frame for the EcoBase, and then show my finished shredder here that I have welded together. and have that guy spitting out some plastic. So hopefully that is what I have finished for the show if I get into the show. So we'll have to see there on that. All right, so this is basically it for the update. April 22nd, 2019, graduating within 24 days. Basically getting ready to start getting into it, into manufacturing, at least part-time, not a third of the time. So before it was, well, like a fourth of the time. And then I have stuff at home. So it was like school, work, stuff at home, and then doing this stuff. And obviously, I basically, most of the time I was doing stuff for school for a senior project. I wasn't able to go back and forth between the different projects. So that is the idea. So stay tuned. Big things to be happening here, and the next month, less than a month from now. So yeah, definitely less than a month. This is 22nd. So within a month, I'll be graduated, and Maker Faire will be over, and we will be looking into manufacturing at least part-time. So school part-time and manufacturing the other part of the time. Thanks you guys so much for following me over the years in university. Stay tuned for the next update showing the Fill a Factory stuff. And I will see you, and also maybe some Maker Faire stuff. And I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Peace.